Hi, I'm Tammy, and welcome to this month's 50-minute reformer class around the world. So in this trip around the world, we should call it around the body, because that's what that exercise is really all about. I hear people all the time say, oh, I don't do around the world. It's such a hard exercise. It's so hard on your abs and hard on your back. Well, that's because the rest of the body isn't jumping in there to keep you supported. So today, let's explore all the parts that we need to make that exercise flow smoothly. And I don't mean flow like that weird thing outside the car wash, that has the air in it and the arms are flapping. I see a lot of that when you're watching someone do around the world. We're going to go for that nice solid core and well-supported movement. Today, you are going to need a pole. I'm using a weighted pole, and this is one of the longer ones. I know that some people use the maple short pole. If you have the option of going with the longer, please do. You can also use a broomstick. And your maple pole won't have much weight to it, so you might need to adjust your springs with a little more oomph to feel the connections. I'll be working a little bit lighter in springs because my pole already has about 3 pounds on it. And we're going to be starting I'm on 1.5 springs, headrest is up, foot bars down all the way, and I have already threaded my loops on. If you have the double click loops that come around, you might also have to adjust the length of your cords to make sure that it's right for you and your body. I'm 5'3", so just coming right after the shoulder rest seems to be the right distance for me. Of course, if there's anything that I'm doing today that you don't do, you can go back to an exercise that you do in the outline for the reformer, and I hope I give you enough adjustments along the way. We should be able to do most things together today. As you're coming down, I have my loops just a little bit wider than the frame of the shoulder rest. And I'm just gonna make my way down. Now let's say you have fuller legs, maybe you're not as flexible through your hip flexors. We're gonna be doing our footwork with your feet on the bar. So go ahead and extend out as far as you can with the arms and the feet touching off of the foot bar. We're going to go ahead and put one foot on, put the other foot on. I am just right at the balls of my feet with my toes curling over or attempting to curl over the bar. Now let's say you're a little tighter through here. Just getting into this position is a little tough for you. You can bring your loops closer, and you can always put your feet to the outside. That might open up a little bit of space here through the hips before we go on, and then as that loosens for you, you can work on bringing yourself back into a closer alignment to your hip position. I'm going to go back in here. Of course, you can also just do this on the foot bar. All right, so do a few and just feel where your bar is. What's nice about having the bar here is you'll feel if one leg is pushing out a little bit faster than the other. You'll feel if your toes like to do different things from foot to foot. And as that starts to feel more comfortable for you, go ahead and you can extend a little faster. And what I want you to feel here is the backs of the thighs, backs of the legs, all the way up to the thudi. When we're doing around the world and your feet are in the foot straps, there's a tendency to flex those toes up to the ceiling and really grip from the hip flexors. But that's not what they're there for. Now, keep those legs in parallel. Take this pole up. Exhale, turn the backs of the legs on, turn that thudi on to bring this down. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Also want you to try and keep your lower back stable. So if you're in a great neutral already, if maybe you're a little imprinted, just try to stay where you can without your pelvis wobbling. You're gonna need that pelvic stabilization as well. I am pretty sure this is the last one. You know Pilates instructors can't count. And soften your knees. Turn so that the heels touch. And let's start over, bending in here and extension out. I don't want you to bend too deep. I always tell people a great test is to put your hands up with your elbows parallel on the bed. You should go in about as much as you can touch your hands. And in and lengthen. Reach all those toes. Either they're touching the bar or they're trying to reach over that bar. Let's do one more. Staying here, taking that up, and then exhale. You're still turning on the backs of the legs, but now you've got a little bit more wrapping sensation. Your inner thighs are trying to press against each other, but at the same time, your outer thighs are trying to wrap from the outside. Let's do last 3. How are you doing with your feet on the bar if you haven't done this position before? One more. And let's bring that up. We're going to separate the heels, bend in, and reach for your pole with the hands, and we're going to thread the feet out. Okay, we're going to be going into our hundreds. So also, I should have mentioned, I do like to have my shoulders just a little bit away from the shoulder rest when I'm doing anything in poles. It just keeps me from pressing too much up in there and relying on my shoulders to stabilize me instead of my core. So let's go into some hundreds. And you can put your thumb on the underside. I think it feels safer to me. If you're one of those people, you want to keep both your hands on top and wrap around the pole, you can do that too. So as we extend up into our nice long position, let's just find where this is. Can you connect? Is your lower back feeling okay? So instead of bouncing with the pole, we're going to float together. So we're going to come up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your breathing. Up. If this is not comfortable for you, on your back, your spine, your neck, you are very welcome to go ahead and leave the knees bent or hold the legs steady. Work just the arms. Don't work just the arms. Just try to hold the position. And let's bend and bring that in. We're going to go into overhead. Now, if you're someone who doesn't do overhead, you might do this one because we're not actually, let's call it not so overhead, but it's going to help us go for the feeling of what overhead is like, because the beginning position for overhead is a lot like prepping for around the world. So I have my legs just a little bit further away from my lower abdominal so I can feel things activating. And let's start with the arms. Just press towards the thighs. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. One more time like that. Leave the arms up. Now, let the legs start to come towards the bar. If you normally do overhead and it feels good to you, you can go ahead and add just a little bit of a pelvic curl, just that little lift of the tailbone off the bed, or you can leave your back nice and flat. Now, we're going to put those two together. Let's make sure now you are holding on to the bar. I want you to slightly pull the bar apart. That's going to help you really connect into your back muscles and bring these two towards center. I'm keeping my gaze up. I'm not trying to look at the bar. What I'm trying to do is let my feet come up enough so I can see them floating at the bottom of my vision. And bringing that down. Even though you don't lift anything, boy, do you feel that in the stomach and the arms and the back. Okay, now let's try coordination. My straps are just a little wide. I'm going to bring them in just a little bit closer and making sure they feel even from side to side. This particular bar pole also has a rubberized surface so that it won't slip from your grip, but it can make it a little harder to move the straps when I want. Alrighty, so here we go. Our coordination, we're going to start in parallel, and let's go ahead and come up, open, close, bend, and bend. I'm going to take my elbows off the bed, out, open, close, bend, and bend. It really, your elbows have to bend just a little bit sooner because the bar can be in your way. Now, let's open the elbows. So you've kind of made this box shape. Instead of the elbows being parallel to the body, they're floating to the side. Push, open, close, bend, and retract.